Imagine a world where buying a home was just a part of growing up, a logical step after landing a steady job, starting a family, and settling into life. For generations before us, home ownership was a dream that seemed attainable. But for young people in the UK today, that dream feels more like a distant fantasy. The UK housing crisis is hitting harder than ever. Rising prices, limited supply, and soaring demand have created a perfect storm. But what is really behind this crisis? Can young people ever hope to own their own homes, or is home ownership slowly becoming a thing of the past? In this video, we'll dive deep into the issues surrounding the UK housing crisis. We'll look at the causes, hear from experts, explore potential solutions, and consider whether young people today can ever own a home. Let's get started. The changing landscape of home ownership. To understand the housing crisis, we need to first understand how home ownership has changed over time. Decades ago, owning a home was a rite of passage. In the 1970s and 80s, house prices were far more affordable compared to average wages. A first-time buyer could purchase a house with a modest salary and a small deposit. However, over time, the rise in housing prices has far outpaced wage growth, making it nearly impossible for first-time buyers to save enough for a deposit, let alone afford the ongoing mortgage payments. One of the biggest factors contributing to this shift has been the deregulation of the mortgage market in the 1980s, which led to a surge in house prices. Coupled with stagnating wages, property ownership evolved from a universal goal into a privilege. Moreover, the decline of council housing and its replacement with private rentals left many without affordable alternatives. The impact of skyrocketing prices and a potential bubble. Over the past 30 years, the average house price in the UK has increased by over 400%. In 1997, the average cost of a home was £60,000. By 2023, that number has soared to over £280,000. Meanwhile, wages have not kept pace, making home ownership far less accessible. To put this in perspective, the house price to income ratio has grown dramatically. In the past, homes cost about 3 times the average salary. Today, in cities like London, house prices can be up to 12 times the average income, creating an insurmountable barrier for many young people. In Manchester, homes once deemed affordable have nearly tripled in price over the past decade. In Bristol, the average home now exceeds £400,000, and in Edinburgh, soaring demand combined with limited supply has left young buyers with few options. Some experts warn that these inflated prices may indicate a housing bubble, reminiscent of the conditions that led to the 2008 market crash. In 2008, unsustainable lending practices and rampant speculation triggered a dramatic collapse. Today, despite tighter lending standards, the disconnect between wages and prices, along with speculative buying, raises concerns that a similar burst could occur, leaving many with negative equity and financial ruin. The supply and demand dilemma, empty homes and hidden stock. A major driver of rising house prices is the imbalance between supply and demand. The UK needs to build at least 300,000 homes per year to keep pace with demand, yet the actual construction numbers fall far short. This shortage is especially acute in major cities like London, Manchester, and Birmingham, where competition for a limited number of homes is fierce. Curiously, while many homes remain empty, they are often held by investors as long-term assets rather than put on the market. These ghost homes are locked away due to speculative practices, restrictive planning laws, or the owner's strategic decisions to wait for prices to rise further. This hoarding of vacant properties only worsens the shortage, as empty houses are not available for people who need them. Planning restrictions, high land prices, and underinvestment in public infrastructure further contribute to this shortage. Many new build developments target wealthier buyers or investors, rather than addressing the needs of first-time buyers and low-income families. The government's response, housing schemes, and the decline of council housing. In response to the crisis, the government has introduced initiatives like Help to Buy, shared ownership, and the First Home Scheme. These programs aim to assist first-time buyers, yet many still find home ownership unattainable due to soaring property prices. Moreover, these schemes typically apply only to new-build properties, which are often priced at a premium and situated in less desirable locations. Critics argue that measures like Help to Buy have inadvertently inflated house prices by increasing demand without resolving the supply shortage. At the same time, once abundant council houses have dwindled. Policies such as the Right to Buy scheme led to the sale of many council homes, drastically reducing the stock of affordable public housing. The current investment in council housing is insufficient to meet demand, leaving low-income families with few safe, affordable options. The role of investors and property speculation. Another critical factor exacerbating the crisis is the role of property investors. Many buy homes not to live in, but as investments, keeping them vacant or renting them out at high prices. This practice has resulted in entire neighborhoods where empty properties outnumber occupied ones, while local residents struggle to find affordable housing. Buy-to-let investors, with their greater purchasing power, consistently outbid first-time buyers, further restricting supply and driving up rental prices. Additionally, foreign investment, particularly in London, has pushed prices even higher. This speculative buying transforms homes into mere commodities, far removed from their primary purpose as living spaces, and pushes prices to levels that the average worker simply cannot afford. Renting as the new normal. For many young people, renting has become the only viable option. Yet, renting itself has become increasingly unaffordable. In many cities, rent takes up over 40% of the average person's salary, leaving little room for savings or building financial security. Tenants often face a difficult choice: live in the city center with sky-high rents, or relocate to the suburbs and incur high travel costs just to get to work. A new trend is emerging where landlords split houses into multiple rooms. In London, it's common for a single property to be divided among 2 to 8 tenants, each renting a single room while sharing common areas. This practice maximizes landlords' profits, but severely compromises personal space and long-term stability for renters. Moreover, many are forced to endure substandard living conditions. Issues like mold, damp, poor insulation, and pest infestations are rampant in low-cost rentals, disproportionately affecting lower-income tenants. The physical and mental health impacts of these conditions are significant, further diminishing quality of life. Some landlords also exploit legal loopholes to pressure tenants into paying higher rents or vacating properties, knowing that high demand leaves renters with few alternatives. Consequently, more young people find themselves staying with their parents well into their 30s, a stark contrast to previous generations, which typically left home in their early 20s, marking a significant delay in achieving independence. Could we see a shift in housing? With the housing crisis showing no signs of easing, many are beginning to explore alternatives to traditional home ownership. Innovative models such as co-living spaces, where individuals share living costs while maintaining private quarters, are gaining traction. Cooperative housing projects, in which residents collectively own and manage their homes, offer a promising alternative that shares financial burdens more equitably. Modular and prefabricated homes, which can be constructed rapidly and at a lower cost than conventional homes, represent a potential solution to quickly expand housing supply. Furthermore, local governments in several cities are piloting initiatives that combine these new housing models with policy reforms, such as rent controls and enhanced tenant rights, to protect residents and prioritize local needs over speculative investment. These emerging trends and policy shifts signal a potential paradigm shift in how society approaches housing. By rethinking traditional home ownership and embracing community-driven, innovative solutions, there is hope for a more accessible and sustainable future. The road ahead. So, can young people ever buy homes in the UK again? While the challenges are immense, there are paths forward. The solution lies in a coordinated effort among policymakers, industry leaders, and communities to fundamentally reshape the housing market. Key measures include increasing investment in public housing, implementing effective rent controls, and reforming property taxation to discourage speculative buying. Stricter regulations on buy-to-let practices and stronger incentives for the development of affordable housing are also critical. These steps can help ensure that new developments are both accessible and affordable for those who need them most. Ultimately, the future of housing in the UK depends on bold, decisive reforms. Without these changes, home ownership may become a luxury reserved for the wealthy, while a growing number of young people remain trapped in insecure rental situations or are forced to live with their parents well into adulthood. However, with collective action and innovative thinking, there is still hope for creating a housing market that works for everyone. The future of housing in the UK is uncertain, but one thing is clear: young people deserve a chance to live in homes they can afford. Through comprehensive market reforms, increased housing supply, and the adoption of alternative housing models, we can make home ownership a reality for the next generation. What do you think? Will young people ever be able to buy homes in the UK? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on important issues affecting our society today.